All right, let's get into it. Our boy Sid starts monologuing about how he likes his current magic world. But, he didn't exactly hate his old life back on Earth either. What a mood. He says back then it was just a grind for grades, and he was basically an NPC. Of course, he was still training 24/7 to become the Eminence in Shadow. The grind never stops. The only problem was he never really got a chance to flex his full power. So, instead of fighting actual villains, he just beat up local hoodlums every night. Gotta get that XP somehow. He says one night a real incident finally happened. Time for the main quest. Ominous crowbar shot. You know things are about to get real. Back then, he wasn't Sid. He was just a regular high school kid named Kageno Minoru. A girl, Akane Nishino, hands him a paper he dropped. Oh, look, it's the love interest. Our boy just plays it cool. Oh, thanks. But then he calls her Nishimura-san. Dude, that's the wrong name. Cringe. She gets a little annoyed, correcting him with a forced smile. She reminds him they've been classmates for months and asks him to please learn her name. He's just like, "Oh yeah, of course, I remember you." What a terrible liar. His inner monologue is amazing. He knows she's a famous actress, a total main character. Then he calls her Nishitani-san. He's 100% trolling her. I love it. Akane just loses her cool. He tries again with Nishimura-san. This man is a menace to society. She immediately gets all flustered, realizing she broke her perfect actress persona. Mission failed successfully. He notes that she didn't like him much, but that was all part of his mob character act. He was fine being ignored, but then that night happened. Plot incoming. While walking home, he hears a shout for help. A wild side quest appears. And who does he see? Akane, getting stuffed into a van by some random goons. They're your standard-issue scumbag kidnappers, nothing special. Kajino's reaction is a massive, absolutely psychotic grin. He has been waiting for this his entire life. Cut to a grimy, abandoned warehouse where Akane is tied up and gagged. Classic villain lair. One of the goons is monologuing about the ransom. Dude, just text her dad, don't do a whole speech. The other creep gets way too close, touching her chin and calling her a doll. Big yikes. He even brings up a past kidnapping incident. This guy has zero chill. Akane kicks him right in the gut. Yes, queen! He stumbles back, all pissed off. You deserved that, my dude. He grabs her and starts screaming about what happens when you resist. Famous last words, bro. Akane squeezes her eyes shut, but then, bam! A window shatters into 1,000,000 pieces. The hero has arrived! Her eyes snap open, full of shock and hope. It's showtime! A dark hooded figure lands behind the kidnappers, who are totally freaking out. Who are you? We get a close-up on his mask with glowing white eyes. So edgy, I love it. He strikes a dramatic pose with a crowbar. I'm just the stylish gangster slayer. The goons are just staring in disbelief. Literally my reaction. That name is hilarious. One of them actually admits the name is pretty dope. LMAO. Even the villains are impressed. Then he gets mad again, screaming about a death wish. Make up your mind, my guy. The thug swings a baseball bat, but our boy just leans back and dodges it like he's in the Matrix. The goon is stunned. He's fast. No duh, Sherlock. He immediately gets knocked out cold with a single clean hook. One shot, GG, no re. The other kidnapper, a dude with a goatee, seems a little smarter, analyzing the fight. He pulls out a combat knife, acting all tough. Here comes the mini-boss. He claims to be a former soldier. You won't find me as easy to take down. Our hero just turns his head, completely unfazed. Former soldier? Good. I've always wanted to test myself against a soldier. He's literally using this as a training dummy. The soldier charges, laughing about how our boy will regret this. Spoiler, he won't. The stylish gangster slayer raises his arm, ready to block the attack. Clang! He parries the knife with his crowbar, sending sparks flying everywhere. Talk about an unconventional weapon. The soldier is completely shocked. A crowbar? Yes, dude, pay attention. Our boy then gives a whole lecture on why the crowbar is an S-tier weapon. It's strong, portable, and versatile. He says it's an effective counter, and more importantly, he swings it like a tonfa and smacks the dude's arm. Crowbar Fu is totally busted. The knife goes flying, disarmed. The soldier isn't done yet and rushes in for some hand-to-hand combat. He starts shouting about our hero's weakness, his small frame, and starts listing his own stats. I'm 194 centimeters and weigh 115 kilograms. I'm far superior. Okay, we get it, you're a tank build. He thinks one clean hit is all it'll take to win. Classic meathead logic. The two face off, the massive soldier against our slim hero. This is gonna be good. Our hero just says, I see now, and admits he can't win as he is. The soldier is confused. Then the air around him starts to crackle, and his clothes rip as he bulks up like the Hulk. I just need to get serious. He has a transformation sequence! The goatee dude just stares, his jaw on the floor in total shock. His brain just blue-screened. Akane is also looking on, completely terrified. Same, girl, same. We get a close-up of our hero, now a massive, muscular monster in a mask. The size difference is absolutely insane. He looks like a raid boss now. He starts talking about the crowbar again, and the soldier just screams, No one cares about your crowbar! Finally, someone said it! The goon is freaking out. What's wrong with your body? Our boy casually explains he usually keeps his muscles compressed. You know, as one does. The soldier has a sudden flashback, remembering stories of a psycho who beats up gangs with a crowbar. He screams out the vigilante's true name. His name is the Ski Mask Berserker. Okay, that name is way cooler. The Berserker confirms it, saying he hunts delinquents for practice. This dude is a menace. With a glint in his eye, he says he's found his answer. Oh, this is gonna be brutal. The soldier is now begging for his life. Too late for that, my guy. Our hero swings his crowbar and just obliterates him. A normal hit is far stronger. We just see blood splatter everywhere as the goons get wrecked off-screen. Total fatality. After the beatdown, he looks at his bloody hand, still not satisfied with his power level. He reaches for the moon, monologuing about needing more power. So dramatic, I love it. Then he turns and looks right at Akane. Uh-oh, what now? She squeezes her eyes shut, bracing for the worst. But he just walks away, leaving her untied. Next time, be more careful on your way home. What a weirdly polite psycho! Now free, Akane tries to place his voice, realizing it's familiar. She's trying to figure out who her strange crowbar-obsessed savior could possibly be. Suddenly, a thought clicks in her head. It can't be. She blushes and smiles. What kind of name is Stylish Gangster Slayer? She's totally crushing on him now. Cut back to the high school the next day. Akane hands him another printout he dropped. Yeah, sure he did. He takes it, playing dumb as usual. Oh, thank you. But this time he gets her name right. Nishino-san. She's totally surprised he finally remembered. We got some character development. She asks him about it, but he just pretends he has no idea what she's talking about. She gets flustered and tells him to forget it. Tundera alert! Our boy narrates that after that day, she started talking to him a lot more. Then the memory fades. After that, I never knew what happened with that girl or that world. The final shot is their classroom, but now it's completely destroyed and abandoned. Whoa, apocalyptic plot twist! Back in the present, Shadow is standing in a void. He thought getting sucked into a black hole was a cool way to go out, but this is a surprise. He's now on a ruined rooftop overlooking a destroyed modern city. It seems that, somehow, I have returned. He senses magic in the air and wonders what happened. Just then, Beta calls out to him. She runs up and reports that they're definitely not in their world anymore. No kidding, Beta. Shadow is just calm as ever, while Beta is glad he's safe. Best girl. She tells him to come look at a nearby building she found. She points to a door plate with weird symbols, saying it's proof they're in another world. Shadow just casually reads the name on it. Tanaka. Beta is completely floored. You know how to read these symbols? He confirms it, saying he wasn't mistaken. He's playing 5D chess as always. They stand on the roof, gazing at the ruins. This world is called Earth, and this country was Japan. The isekai hero actually returned home, but it's a wasteland. But wait, cut to a totally normal, pristine version of Japan, where Akane is looking out her window. Parallel worlds confirmed. Let's freaking go! All right, so our boy Sid is looting an apartment, but all the food is rotten. Total bust. He finds some new clothes, ditching the slime suit, because, it's a bit extra. He decides to look for intel on what the hell happened to this world instead. Time for a proper loot run. He slides open a door and, bam! A full-on human skeleton is just chilling on the floor. Our guy is actually shocked for a second. Yo, is that Tanaka? Kneeling down, he picks up the skull and deduces the dude's been dead for years. He finds tooth marks on the bones, way too big for a normal animal. Something nasty got him. Sid looks out the window, holding the skull like a tragic hero. R.I.P. Tanaka, you had a rough go. Suddenly, Beta pops in, asking, could I change into this? She's posing in a school swimsuit, hyping up its elasticity. Bruh. She thinks it's high-tech Japanese gear. Sid has to calmly explain that it's basically underwear. It has no insulation, he says, trying to save her from the cringe. So she tries again, coming back in a full-on bunny girl outfit. Are you kidding me? She found it under the bed, and Sid is holding Tanaka's skull, just thinking, I know why you'd want to hide this, Tanaka. He tells her it's too vulgar. This is peak comedy. For her third try, she emerges in a dominatrix outfit with a whip, convinced Tanaka was a masked warrior. LMAO. Sid is internally screaming at Tanaka's skull, which is now blushing. Tanaka-san! He explains this outfit has 0 armor class and is for a very particular activity. Beta is confused about the whip, so Sid explains it's for training worthless pigs. The pigs of Earth sound quite peculiar, she muses, totally in awe of his wisdom. Beta decides she's gonna wear it anyway, and Sid is just done. Cut to the ruined city, with Sid begging her to find literally anything else to wear. What a legend, that Tanaka. Anyway, they're exploring post-apocalyptic Japan. Beta is totally geeking out over the power lines, asking what they're for. Sid, playing the all-knowing Shadow, explains electricity to her. He's acting super serious, pointing out the wires transported the power. Such a nerd. Beta is taking notes, thinking this will give Shadow Garden a tech buff. Meanwhile, Sid is just loving the attention. He's thinking, God, I'm so cool. Then Beta hits him with a logic bomb. Why didn't they just bury the wires? Uh-oh. She points out they look ugly and would fall in an earthquake. Sid starts sweating bullets. He pulls an answer out of his ass, saying, the people of Japan thought having them like this was nicer to look at. She buys it. Crisis averted. As they walk, a newspaper blows past them. Beta picks it up. She notices the writing is a lot like Shadow's secret cipher. Sid's face is pure, unadulterated panic. He has a flashback and realizes his super-secret code was just Japanese and English. He's so busted. If Beta learns the language, his whole OP persona is gonna get nerfed into the ground. She'll know he's just some dude from Earth who's been flexing his old-world knowledge. His entire gig is a lie. He starts freaking out, realizing he needs to find a way back home, like yesterday, but he has no idea how. Beta notices he's shaking, and he's just like, I'm merely regulating my body temperature. 10-10 excuse. He doubles down, saying he's trying to produce sonic waves by vibrating. And she believes him. Best girl is so pure. They keep walking, wondering what could have possibly wrecked Japan. It clearly wasn't a normal disaster. The whole civilization is just gone. Sid seizes the chance to sound cool again, claiming he has a theory. Beta is completely floored that he's already solved the mystery. He strikes a pose and says it has something to do with the magic in the air. He remembers the lights he saw right before he got isekai'd. That's his only clue. Magic showed up, and Japan just couldn't handle it. The country got hit with a system shock it wasn't spec'd for, and just perished. His thought is cut short when he steps in a puddle. He sees a river, so they stop to fill up some water bottles they borrowed from Tanaka. He figures the water is probably fine, since their stats are high enough to resist any debuffs. As he's filling them up, he looks super dramatic and pensive. Then he pauses. This smell. They both sense a strong stench of death coming from a nearby building. Dungeon entrance located! Suddenly, a window on the building just explodes. It's go time! Cut to inside a creepy, abandoned hospital. They found the source of the smell on this floor. Sid explains a hospital is like a clinic, but for people without healing magic. What a noob zone! As they walk, he spots something on the floor. It's a trail of blood. Main quest marker! It leads to a room at the end of the hall. This could be a clue on how we can get back. They peek inside and immediately recoil. Yikes! The room is a total mess, with 3 fresh corpses on the floor. The bodies are only a few days old, meaning other survivors might be around. Beta does a quick analysis of the scene. She notes the bodies are in a horrific state. So people were alive here just 5 days ago. Something went down. Suddenly, Sid warns her to brace herself. Something's coming. Ambush! A massive monster bursts through the wall, lunging right at Beta. She doesn't even flinch, just closes her eyes for a sec. Then she casually backflips over the monster's attack. Total Matrix move. While still in the air, she winds up for a punch. Boom! She smashes it into the ground, sending monster guts everywhere. Fatality. Before they can even breathe, another one looms over them. This one tries to bite Sid's head off. Our boy doesn't even change his expression, just one-shots it with a single punch. GG, no re. 2 more wolf-like mobs pop out of the darkness. Sid whips out his slime katana, ready for more. He swings his blade, dark energy crackling around it. So edgy, I love it. He figures this must be the monster's nest, since they haven't seen any outside. Beta punches another one into oblivion, realizing these are the things that killed those people. A huge smile spreads across her face. Sid cuts down another beast, finishing her thought. They're too weak. Far too weak, she agrees, having the time of her life. Just farming XP at this point. A monster's head gets absolutely obliterated. They stand back to back, surrounded by monster corpses. You'll be no match for us. Such badasses. Beta notes the monsters are similar to ones in their world, and Sid agrees. Then she asks if these are the worthless pigs he mentioned earlier. Our boy gets all awkward, trying to explain the difference. So cringe. Suddenly, their senses go off. New players have entered the zone. They spot 3 people on the floor below. Beta wants to make contact, but Sid gets this sly grin on his face. No, let us withdraw for now. He's got a plan. Time for a proper shadow entrance. Meanwhile, on the floor below, Akane and her 2 friends are exploring the same hospital. They're looking for their missing squad mates, but they've heard demons are spawning here. Akane doesn't care. She's going to find them, even if it's just a recovery mission. Her friends are worried they left without telling anyone. Akane-san, one says, but Akane is just staring ahead, resolute. She's pissed they didn't come sooner, feeling like they abandoned their friends. Classic hero guilt trip. There was an argument about not having enough knights for the mission. She apologizes for dragging them along, but her friend is like, "We came because we agree with you." They head upstairs, following the sounds of the fight our heroes just finished. As they walk, a drop of liquid hits one of the guys on the cheek. He thinks it's just a leaky pipe. Famous last words, bro. He looks up and sees a massive monster clinging to the ceiling right above him. Jump scare! He's completely frozen in terror. The monster roars and lunges. More mobs pop out of the shadows, surrounding them completely. "Stay calm," Akane yells. She draws her katana, and it instantly starts crackling with lightning. She's got a lightning buff. Nice! "Ha!" she shouts, swinging her glowing sword and saving the dude just in the nick of time. Akane goes into total beast mode, zipping around and slicing through all the demons with her electrified blade. Her friends are just stunned. The immediate threat is gone, but Akane is already analyzing the situation. She looks up the stairs, wondering, was someone fighting them upstairs? Oh yeah, you have no idea. All right, so Akane's party is creeping up a creepy staircase. "I'm going in alone," she says, all serious-like. If she's not back in an hour, they should just report her as K.I. What a baller. Her squad immediately protests, saying it's way too dangerous, and they'll stick with her no matter what. They can't afford to lose their ace player, their one and only savior. Seriously, they're laying it on thick, calling her an awakener with greater power than any other knight. That's an exaggeration, she says, but they're not having it, insisting on going with her. They are a team, and they won't let her face the next boss alone. Akane just sighs, clearly used to dealing with her low-level party members following her everywhere. Cut to a super dark and decrepit hospital hallway, where the whole vibe is just nope. The 4 of them move cautiously, flashlights cutting through the gloom, while they note the thick smell of blood. Suddenly, Akane's eyes go wide as she looks up at something absolutely bonkers. The whole group freezes, staring at a massive, fresh pool of beast blood on the floor. Akane and her boy sidekick immediately rush to a nearby doorway, peeking inside to see where the trail leads. What they find is a hallway literally packed to the ceiling with a mountain of grotesque monster corpses. The girl with pigtails lets out a shriek, while Akane just stares, completely stunned by the sheer carnage. It's a literal river of blood, with too many bodies to even count, blocking their path. Akane quickly snaps back into leader mode, saying it's their chance to figure out what went down here. As they step into the gore, her friend points something out on one of the bodies. The girl kneels down, noting the monsters were sliced by something incredibly sharp, and the cuts are terrifyingly clean. She wonders if dozens of other knights were here, but Akane shuts that theory down fast. No other squad in the area has this kind of firepower, and it definitely wasn't her group. This means the clean cuts must be from some other monster's ridiculously sharp claws or fangs. Then another dude points to a different corpse that looks like it was just crushed into paste. And yet another one was sliced into ribbons, which Akane notes is just unnecessarily cruel. Someone was flexing. She realizes most were one-shotted. This wasn't a fight. It was a massacre by a single OP creature. She remembers her brother investigating a super-strong beast, an apex predator of this messed-up world. Brutal, she decides to call it, getting ready for a potential raid boss fight. Just then, her buddy shouts that he found people and they're still breathing. Akane sprints over while the others guess their base must have been wiped out by the apex beast. The boy they found seems like a normal dude, just an average refugee with nothing but water. But the girl, oh man, the girl. She has beautiful silver hair and long elf ears. A rare drop. The guy is freaking out, wondering if she's an awakener, just like Akane. Akane decides to take them both back to base, since they might have some useful intel. Even though the guy is worried about awakeners going feral, Akane points out the boy was protecting her. She hoists the silver-haired girl onto her back, feeling a little sad that they're just kids. If the world wasn't a dumpster fire, they'd be enjoying their youth, just like she used to. She then gets a random flashback of a mysterious masked dude saving her a while back. Hello, plot point. She scoffs, thinking there's no way he could show up again to save the day. Because, as far as she knows, that awesome masked hero is already long dead. The scene shifts to Messiah, a huge fortified compound. We hear Akane's formal voice. That concludes our report. Her brother, Akira, scolds her for going out without permission, saying everyone will be punished for it. Akane tries to take all the blame, but her brother just adjusts his glasses, completely unfazed by her dramatics. She argues that if they'd left earlier, their friends might still be alive, but he's all business. He says finding the apex was more important, and she just fumes, too pissed off to reply. Suddenly, a blonde woman in a lab coat interrupts their family squabble, and they both turn to look. Akane recognizes her as Yuka-sensei, who says she just checked on the refugees they brought back. Both siblings look up as the doctor finishes her sentence, and the boy just woke up. Inside the medbay, our boy sits up in a bed, looking around all dazed and confused. The door opens, and he sees Akane and her brother walk in, who notes he doesn't seem seriously injured. He starts shaking, asking where he is and who they are. The amnesia act is a go. Akane gently explains this is the Messiah base, and they found him knocked out in the hospital. She introduces herself as Nishino Akane, a knight, offering a friendly smile and a handshake. Our boy, now going by Minoru, looks confused at her school uniform, so she explains it's just what they wear. It's the uniform from a place called Sakurazaka High School, just to make the fighters stand out. Yuka, the doctor, then teases Akane about wearing a high school uniform as a 20-year-old, which is peak cringe. The doctor gets serious, explaining that the boy's memories are jumbled, probably a temporary magical side effect. All he seems to remember is that his name is Minoru. Player name confirmed. Akane is a little surprised by the name, and Yuka asks if she knows him. She says he just looks like an old friend with the same name, but it's totally not him. Akane then asks about the girl he was with, and Minoru looks confused for a second. Then he suddenly panics, shouting, "Natsume, are you talking about my precious little sister?" He freaks out, asking where she is, and Akane has to calm him down, pointing to another bed. He sighs in relief. Akane explains that her friend's silver hair and elf ears are signs of an awakener. She continues, saying awakeners gain incredible magic power, but their bodies can go through some changes. To prove her point, she shows him her own eyes, which turned from black to red. Minoru adds that Natsume also can't speak, playing up the tragic backstory for all it's worth. The doctor offers to take care of his sister, but Akira, the brother, immediately steps in. He introduces himself as the guy in charge, a researcher studying awakeners to save more people. He promises he can help Natsume speak again, and Minoru thanks him, asking to talk to her later. Minoru explains he can communicate with her through gestures, which Akira seems to accept without question. But you can see the gears turning in Akira's head as he thinks about a sane awakener. He tells Minoru to rest up, welcoming him and his sister as new members of Messiah. Our boy puts on his biggest, most grateful smile, so glad they were found by such nice people. As soon as Akane and Akira leave the room, Akira's friendly facade completely vanishes. He pushes up his glasses with a soft click, all business now that the noobs are gone. "They're just clueless kids in the end," he mutters as he walks down the hall. Akane follows, looking super suspicious and asking him what he's planning to do with them. Her brother just stops and looks down, offering nothing but a chilling, ominous silence in response. The scene ends on a quiet shot of the infirmary, and you just know something shady is about to go down. Later that night, our boy Sid is sitting in the dark room. "Beta," he says, "you can get up now." Her eye snaps open, no longer pretending to be asleep or unconscious in the slightest. She sits up with a sigh of relief as Sid congratulates her on successfully infiltrating the local faction. Beta is just amazed, gushing that Lord Shadow has already mastered the language of this new world. He explains that while they were unconscious, he was absorbing information by analyzing their speech patterns. What a busted skill! Beta, ever the diligent student, is already taking notes, amazed at his analytical ability. She declares that she must learn Japanese as soon as possible, and she's literally vibrating with determination. Sid asks what she was talking about with Akira, but before getting into that, he drops the new lore. "My name here will be Minoru. Yours is Natsume," he says, making them siblings for their cover story. Ho lol. He explains that they think her elf features are a disease, so she'll be undergoing treatment here. Meanwhile, he'll be acting separately to gather information on how to get them back home. Beta immediately gets it. She'll be the inside agent, gathering intel on this world's tech. She realizes he used his insane charisma to set this all up perfectly while pretending to be a mute girl. She's completely in awe, convinced he must have planned this all the way back in their world. This just makes her even more determined to master the language as fast as she possibly can. Sid tells her to keep a low profile until he seeks her out when the time is right. She accepts her mission with a sly grin, playfully calling him Oni-chan, and he just deadpans, "Please don't." The next morning, the autumn wind rustles through the trees on the university grounds. It's a beautiful day for a side quest. Our boy is stretching, just enjoying the chill Japanese air after so long. "What a wonderful sight," he says, looking out at the ruined city and smelling the sweet, sweet freedom. He's so pumped that he managed to hand Beta off to that sketchy Akira dude. Now he can focus on finding a way home, enjoying his vacation in post-apocalyptic Japan while he's at it. He realizes that since his old classmate Akane is here, this is definitely his old world. No doubt about it. He's actually excited about how Japan ended up like this, hoping for some fun events. He's already picturing a dramatic entrance, a mysterious hero descending upon the ravaged world. Classic Sid. His daydream is cut short when Akane calls out to him from a nearby staircase, totally startled. He quickly switches back to his amnesiac persona, apologizing and saying he was just trying to jog his memory. She tells him it's time for breakfast, which they're cooking up in the university hall. They sit on some steps outside, eating, and she explains that Messiah has generators and even grows their own food. It's all thanks to her brother, who got all the tech working and keeps their faction running smoothly. Sid remarks that her brother must be an incredible researcher, and she agrees, but it's not all good news. Their success makes them a target for other human factions, which is why her brother is so desperate to buff their forces. Sid plays dumb, pretending his memories are still a mess from what happened with his sister. Then he looks at her with a serious expression and asks the big question. Could you tell me what happened in this world? Akane looks down, her face turning somber. It all happened about 3 years ago, without warning, she begins. So Akane kicks off the world's saddest lore dump with a flashback. Apparently, it all went down 3 years ago. The scene shifts to a news report about a new creature, with experts claiming it's a highly cautious, docile creature. Spoiler, it was not. Akane and her friends are just chilling, thinking the new monsters are kinda cute, and joking about seeing them in zoos. She hoped they'd just be a fun new tourist attraction. At first, they kept to forests, she narrates, then adds a big old but. And then, bam, nightmare mode activated. A monster is suddenly wrecking a room full of people, and one is reaching for Akane. She flashes back to being splattered with blood, totally traumatized, remembering the endless screaming as everyone just got wiped out around her. Basically, before anyone could even start the tutorial quest, the monsters were already everywhere, totally hostile and farming humans for XP. Humanity decided to call these new mobs beasts, which is honestly a pretty basic name for these horrifying dragon-looking things. Even our best weapons were useless, just a temporary debuff at best. In only a year, humanity's population was totally nerfed. The scene pans over a huge pile of bodies, a total TPK. No one even knew the real numbers anymore. But just when things seemed hopeless, humanity started to figure out the game mechanics, adapting to this crappy new world. Akane looks up, her spoon now bent by some invisible force. And, she adds dramatically, that magic came to exist in our world. Our boy Sid is just sitting there taking notes while Akane explains that these new superpowers just sort of appeared. Random patch update. She warns him that magic can be a huge buff, but also a catastrophic debuff, messing with people's heads and memories. Some foreign research nerds were the first to discover magic, announcing they'd train knights to fight back against the monster invasion. And so, Japan's first ever knight was born. It was a beautiful girl with glowing golden hair, looking like a max-level paladin. They called her the original knight, and she was an absolute beast, a one-woman raid party just deleting monsters left and right. She and her followers created the last bastion of humanity, a huge base they called Arcadia, the one and only safe zone. For a little while, people actually felt safe again, living a normal life on these peaceful, tree-lined streets in the city. The original knight became a total celebrity, a symbol of hope for everyone in Japan, her face plastered on giant screens. Her story was epic and inspiring, until, one day, she just snapped, and the hopeful music abruptly cuts off right there. The scene is now a ruined Arcadia, where she stands covered in blood, having literally slaughtered the entire population before just vanishing. Turns out, having that much power broke her character build, and she went completely insane, laughing like a total psycho. With their last hope gone, the world server immediately crashed into chaos and despair once again. What a downer. And that's about what happened in the past 3 years, Akane finishes, ending her depressing tale on a super somber note. Sid looks down, pretending to be troubled. A lot of fun. Horrible things went down, he says, almost blowing his cover. Smooth. They're eating on some steps at the Messiah base, and Akane adds that her brother is actually a survivor from Arcadia. He was a researcher there, so he knows all the game mechanics about knights. She hopes he's still one of the good guys. But lately, I can't really tell, she admits, hinting that her brother is giving off some serious final boss vibes. Sid just listens intently. Akane then pivots, asking Sid if the story helped him remember anything. He's immediately like, huh? Totally caught off guard. She presses him for details about where he came from, and he starts to panic, not having his backstory script ready. So he goes full-on anime protagonist mode, clutching his head. My head! It hurts! Akane immediately feels bad for pushing him. He adds his hand is shaking for good measure. Solid acting. She tells him to take his time, totally falling for the act. She pats his shoulder reassuringly, saying he should go see the doctor later. The perfect excuse for him to slip away. Her patrol duty calls, so she straightens her uniform, ready for the daily quests to start popping up around the base. In an office, the doctor, Yuka, finds Sid. "And where did you disappear to?" she scolds him. "You need to tell me." She lectures him in the hallway while he pretends to be sorry. "I've been worried. The stampede could begin any time now." Sid looks confused. "Stampede?" he asks, and she's shocked he doesn't know about the upcoming Horde Mode event. She explains that when a monster nest gets too big, the beasts go on a rampage looking for humans to munch on. Yuka points to a spot on the map, his old high school. "We expect a stampede to start at this one next." The beasts are apparently only a kilometer away, so they're probably going to beeline it straight for the Messiah base. Sid asks why they didn't just clear the nest earlier, and she explains they were busy with the Apex investigation side quest. Yuka then drops the name of a new boss mob, Brutal, and Sid is internally geeking out over all the cool lingo. He puts on a serious face and repeats the badass words just because they sound cool. He has his priorities straight. Yuka takes him completely seriously, agreeing that if the powerful specimen joins the frenzy, the base is in deep trouble. As they're walking, a loud bang interrupts her. They're about to have a very, very bad day, it seems. They look out the window to see people running everywhere. "It's begun," she says calmly, calling it the pre-game lobby jitters. She has to go help the injured and tells Sid to stay put. "Of course," he says with his most obedient face. The door slams shut, leaving our boy standing alone in the hallway, now completely unsupervised and ready for some action. The second she's gone, his meek expression vanishes and is replaced by a wicked smirk. "Not," he says to himself. Dark energy crackles around his katana. "You expect me to sit still in the middle of a hunting ground?" he thinks. LOL, no. Back in the office, he stands before the map, his glowing sword drawn. "All righty," he grins. "Which nest should I go fuck up?" Meanwhile, in a crowded hallway, some dude is trying to keep the peace, while another guy completely loses it, screaming about his sister. The grieving guy raises a pistol, ready to start team killing. "I'm doing you a favor," he yells. But a voice cuts in. Enough! It's Akane, standing there like a total boss with her hand on her katana, telling him to lower his weapon. He ignores her and fires right at her face. Big mistake. A bright muzzle flash lights up the chaotic hallway. The bullet flies straight for her, but she just draws her sword in a blur of motion, ready to intercept the shot. She literally slices the bullet in half with her blade. What an absolute flex! The pieces fly harmlessly past her. Before the dude can even process what just happened, she casually bunks him on the head with her sword hilt, knocking him out. As he hits the floor, she says, "Guns don't work against knights." The other guy cheers, totally amazed by her skills. Get wrecked, noob. Yuka starts directing the crowd to the clinic. She and Akane walk off together, two badasses handling the pre-raid chaos. Yuka thanks Akane for stopping the situation, sighing that everyone is on edge. The whole base is clearly at its limit. She worries they won't have enough beds, especially since Minoru is taking one up. It's a logistical nightmare for the support staff. Akane asks how Sid is doing, and Yuka says he's physically fine, but that they really shouldn't leave him alone. She explains that with his memory loss, they still don't know anything about him, so he's a bit of a wild card. Akane thinks for a second, a thoughtful look on her face as she considers the best way to handle the situation. She then decides she'll just have him move into her room. Yuka is completely shocked by this very bold suggestion. "It'll be fine," Akane says, with a reassuring smile. "He's still a child." Oh, if only she knew. Just then, someone calls for Yuka to help an injured person, and she has to rush off, leaving Akane all alone. As the doctor leaves, Akane senses someone else approaching her from behind, her nightly senses tingling with a new presence. A slimy voice calls out to her, commenting on her interesting convo. She turns, her expression immediately hardening into a glare. It's some dude with a goatee she calls Lieutenant Sayima. He looks down at her with a smug, condescending smirk. He puts a hand on her shoulder, acting way too familiar. "Come on, we were classmates," he says. She flinches away uncomfortably. She tries to leave, but he grabs her, annoyed. "Hey, I'm not finished yet," he snaps, clearly not taking no for an answer. He starts trash-talking Sid, calling him a freeloader and saying they don't need him around. He's clearly on a power trip. He tightens his grip on her arm, saying her taking Sid in sets a bad example for the rest of the knights. Then he leans in with a cruel smirk, suggesting he could dump him at some beast nest for her. What a jerk. Akane has had enough of his BS. "Enough!" she shouts, slapping his hand away with some serious force. She glares at him with pure, unfiltered rage in her eyes, finally showing this clown that she is not to be messed with. He recoils, yelling about her attacking a superior. "You ordered me not to act like a stranger," she retorts coolly. Owned. He just snarls, getting super pissed off that she stood up to him. He is clearly not used to being challenged. As she walks away, he calls out a vague threat. "I know a lot more than you think." Classic villain foreshadowing. His words make her pause for a second, but she continues on, not giving him the satisfaction of a real response. The scene shifts, showing the exterior of one of the buildings at the Messiah base, setting the stage for the next event. Later, Akane arrives at a door and uses her keycard to unlock it, ready to check in on her new charge. Inside the patient room, a nurse greets Akane, saying the girl is up and has been awake for quite some time now. Natsume, the elf-like girl, is sitting up in bed, looking totally peaceful and angelic as she reads a picture book. Akane approaches the bed with a warm smile. "Hello, Natsume-chan, I'm Akane," she says, introducing herself in a gentle voice. The girl looks up from her book with an expression of pure, innocent curiosity, playing her part absolutely perfectly. The nurse explains she's using picture books to help her learn, noting how enthusiastic she is. Natsume glances at the clock. She starts poking at the clock's buttons with childlike wonder. The nurse notes her curiosity about all the new items around her. Suddenly, the clock's alarm blares, and Natsume flinches, pretending to be terrified by the sudden loud noise. It's quite a performance. The nurse rushes to comfort her. "There, there," she says, giving the frightened-looking girl a reassuring hug. She realizes Natsume reset the clock while fiddling with it, and goes to check the time on her watch, but it's gone. Strange. "Say, did you happen to see it?" the nurse asks, but Natsume just looks up with a sweet, innocent smile. She touches her fingers to her blushing cheeks, looking as harmless as possible. Her acting skills are truly on another level. The women are completely disarmed. "Yeah, of course she wouldn't know," the nurse sighs, while Akane calls her a cute little angel. Just then, Akira bursts in, frantically asking if anyone has seen his camera. Oh, lull, she got him too. Akane is surprised to see him. He's certain he had it this morning. The nurse confirms she hasn't seen it, leaving only one possible explanation. Akira's eyes narrow with suspicion as he glances over at Natsume, wondering if she could be the one who stole it. Natsume just winks playfully and makes another cute gesture, once again completely shutting down any suspicion with her adorable act. The group is charmed again. What would she even do with it? Akira muses, while the others agree she's a cute little princess. Later, in a lab, Akane asks her brother if they can treat Natsume. He dismisses her, saying the stampede is the priority. He's completely focused on his work, revealing that he just found something very interesting that could change everything for them. In a flashback, we see him at a blast site where they found the remains of some unknown, incredibly powerful creature. He smirks while typing, explaining they recovered its head and plan to harness its power. Meanwhile, Natsume looks on, all business. Akane gets upset that he's ignoring the girl. "What? But you said you'd look after her." He just tells her not to worry. He adds that he found interesting things about her after analyzing her blood, while a panel shows Natsume smiling knowingly. Uh-oh. Akira's face fills with a grim determination. "I won't fail," he mutters to himself. "Not this time." It's full mad scientist mode. Akane just watches him walk away, his footsteps echoing down the hall, leaving her with a sense of deep unease. In a dark room, the elf girl, Beta, is at a desk, typing furiously on a laptop. The act is officially over. Her hands fly across the keyboard as she replays the words she heard earlier, absorbing the language with terrifying speed. She adjusts a pair of glasses, a confident smirk on her face. "Japanese, bit by bit," she says, proud of her progress. "Our girl is busted." So this massive, multi-headed beast is just chilling in some ruins, talking about how fun it is to slaughter endless meat. Meanwhile, our boy Sid is grinning like a maniac, saying he was just starting to miss the thrill of the hunt. Perfect timing. One of the beast's heads lets out an insane roar, just filling the air with raw power and particle effects. Cut to after the fight, and the monster is already a dead heap behind him. Sid casually rests his katana on his shoulder. He's already planning his one-liner for the upcoming Stampede event, while he absolutely obliterates a whole mob of smaller monsters. The attack causes a massive explosion that just tears through the entire ruined cityscape, a total light show of destruction. The next morning, Akane pops in to check on our boy, asking how he slept and if his headache is gone. He almost says he needed a good slaughter before correcting it to slumber. Smooth. She apologizes for moving him to a new room. She shows him to a converted classroom, which is now his new crib. He's like, "Is this a classroom?" Yup. She explains they hastily put up partitions to make rooms, and his is right next to hers. Oh my. She then leans in close with a playful smile and tells him, "Don't peek, okay?" The rom-com energy is real. He gets all flustered, insisting he would never, and she just laughs it off, totally just joking around with him. She opens a locker and pulls out a spare uniform for him to wear while his clothes get washed. She smiles warmly, encouraging him to put it on and saying she's sure it'll look great on him. After he's changed, he calls out to her, and she dramatically whips the curtain aside to see how it fits. Sid steps out, looking pretty sharp while adjusting the tie on his new white school uniform jacket. Akane's eye immediately widens in shock. She totally recognizes this look, and you can see the flashback loading. Our boy just gives her a slight, pleasant smile, completely unaware of the bombshell he just dropped on her. Akane starts to tremble, and Sid looks at her with concern, asking if she's okay. Tears start streaming down her face, but she's still smiling. "You really look just like him," she whispers emotionally. She quickly covers her mouth, trying to compose herself, while our boy just stands there, totally confused by what's happening. He completely misreads the situation, thinking she's laughing at him. Bruh. "Not cool," he mutters. "What a guy." She quickly makes an excuse to leave with his old clothes, needing a moment to process everything. As she leaves, she glances back with a gentle smile, telling him she's glad the uniform fits so perfectly. Once he's alone, Sid notes that the uniform fits him like a glove, feeling just like his old one. He then remembers his old uniform had bloodstains on the sleeve from punching out some random thug. You know, normal school memories. We get a quick flashback to the bloody sleeve, just to confirm, because of course we do. Then the realization hits him like a truck. Wait, why was she keeping his old, probably blood-stained uniform? The panic is real. Suddenly, the door gets kicked open, and some dude with a goatee storms in, demanding to know who he is. This guy, Sayajima, grabs a startled Sid, dismissing his fear and introducing himself as the Knight's lieutenant. What a jerk! Sid has a sudden flashback to a gorilla eating a banana. He recognizes this dude from his old class. He's internally geeking out that the simple background gorilla grew into such a fine, big gorilla. His priorities are perfect. Sajima starts yelling at Sid for wearing the uniform, and our boy immediately goes into full-on panic mode to sell the act. Still shaking, he explains he's just borrowing it, but Akane insisted, which only seems to make the dude angrier. A vein literally pops on Sajima's forehead as he totally snaps, his face contorting with some serious rage. He grabs Sid by the collar, telling him to stop messing around, while our boy winces in fake pain. This clown then leans in and accuses him of being a rat from an enemy base, a spy. Bold claim, bro. Sid plays the terrified victim perfectly, denying everything, while Saejima grins like a total psycho villain. Saejima rears back to punch him, but just as his fist is about to connect, BAM! Akane appears out of nowhere. She grabs his wrist, stopping the punch cold. "Enough!" she yells, stepping in to protect our hero. She demands to know what he's doing, and he claims he's just interrogating a potential spy. Sure, dude. He gestures at Sid, still trembling behind her, saying the new guy is obviously the most suspicious one here. Akane shuts him down with cold, hard logic, pointing out the rat arrived before Sid even got here. Owned. Saejima scoffs and backs off, calling them lovebirds and making some gross comment on his way out. After he leaves, Akane is left standing there, gritting her teeth in pure, silent rage. We've all been there. Later that night, in a conference room, a captain named Haitani kicks off a meeting with all the squad leaders present. Saejima is slouched over, looking bored, while Akane listens intently to the new intel about the brutal creature. The captain pulls up a picture of a completely destroyed elementary school, and both Akane and Saejima look absolutely shocked. The screen shows the school reduced to a pile of rubble, with dead beasts whose vitals were precisely targeted. Akane asks if this could be the work of the brutal, the new boss mob they've been tracking. The captain says no. The clean cuts on the monsters were made by a single blade, not by claws or fangs. Saejima shoots to his feet, slamming the table and yelling that it's impossible for one person to solo that many beasts. But the captain calmly explains that there is one person they know of who could have achieved such a feat. He builds the suspense, describing someone who could slay hundreds of beasts and cut through buildings like they were butter. Then he drops the bombshell name on the whole room. The original Knight. The room erupts in disbelief. Everyone thought she vanished after she went crazy and destroyed Arcadia, the last safe zone. Akane connects the dots with horror, realizing this means the psycho paladin might be coming to destroy them next. The captain clarifies that it's just a theory for now, but everyone should absolutely be on high alert. He points out that with the Apex and the Stampede already coming, adding her to the mix would be a total party wipe. Just then, the entire room is flooded with red warning lights and blaring alarms. The Horde mode is starting early. On the defensive walls, the battle is already raging. The guards are screaming that the beasts are here. Back in the conference room, the captain is roaring orders to wake everyone up and prevent a breach in their defenses. Saejima is out in the hallway, shouting at everyone to get to their positions as people are running everywhere. A wide shot shows a massive, overwhelming horde of monsters clawing their way up the barricade. This looks bad. The defenders on the wall know they're screwed. "This wall won't hold them off for long," one of them yells. Suddenly, a beast leaps over the wall, its jaws wide open, about to chomp down on one of the guards. But, in a flash, Akane vaults over the wall, a blur of motion as she moves to intercept it. She lands gracefully outside, sword drawn, ready to solo the entire swarm. The guards she saved just stare in awe. She's cutting through them like a pro, but realizes there are just way too many. "Has the stampede begun?" The captain's voice rings out as he slashes a beast, confirming that no, this isn't even the main event. He kneels on a monster corpse, his knife dripping with blood, and declares, "This is just a taste of what's to come." Akane can't believe it. She and the captain stand back to back, ready for another wave. A guard shouts from the wall that the north gate is about to fall. Things are looking grim. They're losing ground fast, and Akane knows they won't last without a new plan. She makes a crazy decision. She's going to be a decoy and draw all the aggro herself. What a flex! Before the captain can stop her, she dashes right into the thick of the horde, telling him not to worry. She unleashes a massive spinning slash, ready to defeat every single enemy with her own two hands. And that's when a giant, shadowy, boss-level beast appears right in front of her, making her plan look very, very stupid. Akane looks up at the colossal monster, her confidence completely shattered. "It's huge!" She swings her sword with all her might, but the blade just bounces off its hide. Damage nullified. The beast casually swats her away, sending her flying through the air like a rag doll. Two smaller beasts immediately close in on her while she's down and vulnerable. It's not looking good for our girl. But just before they can pounce, one of the monster's heads just explodes in a shower of gore. The captain is totally stunned, wondering what just happened. All he felt was a strange gust of wind. Up on the wall, the guards watch in awe as a mysterious black wind whips across the battlefield, shredding beasts to pieces. A stylish heeled boot lands firmly on a monster's corpse, its owner having arrived in the middle of the chaos. Akane looks up to see a mysterious figure in a long hooded coat, silhouetted perfectly against the full moon. The figure closes his eyes and delivers the most epic, chuny line imaginable. "The wind is weeping." Akane just stares, completely floored by this dramatic entrance and the sheer power on display. Who is this guy? She snaps out of it and clears the area around her with a powerful slash, regrouping for a second. The captain rushes to her side, asking if she's okay and what that whole wind is weeping thing was about. Akane has no clue, but she knows anyone with that much power must be another awakener, just like her. She calls him the Black Knight, hoping to God that this ridiculously OP new player is on their team. Later that night, the base is quiet again, with a huge moon hanging in the sky over the buildings. Seijima is walking down a hallway, complaining to himself about the original knight and now this new Black Knight. He's monologuing about taking care of that stupid kid himself when a sudden sound makes him whip around. He turns to confront whoever interrupted his evil thoughts, yelling, "Yo, what do you want?" Before he can even finish his sentence, slash! There's a sharp sound, and his eyes fly wide open in pure shock. Blood erupts from his chest as he stumbles backward, looking down at his hands in disbelief before a shadowy figure appears. A sinister smirk spreads across the attacker's face as they mockingly ask, "Who could it be?" What a cliffhanger! Our boy is parkouring across rooftops, laughing like a total maniac. "Finally," he whispers to himself, totally geeking out. "Finally, I did it!" Turns out the beast swarm was a surprise event, and he got to use his ultimate line. He strikes a dramatic pose, totally feeling himself. The wind is weeping. He literally screams with joy. "I finally got to say it!" He spots Akane heading back, so he knows it's time to go. He dives through a window and is instantly back in bed, playing asleep. The speed is unreal. Akane comes in, looking over her shoulder and saying, "I'm back." She hears him moving and stops by his curtained-off room. She asks if he's awake, and our boy invites her in. She sits down, looking totally exhausted from her rough day. He can smell blood on her, and then she gets real serious. She slides to the floor and drops a bomb of a question. "Have you ever thought that you might be better off dead?" Our boy gives the most Chad response ever without even blinking. "Never." Akane laughs, surprised he answered so fast, but he's dead serious. He says he wants to live forever, even if other people don't get it. His life philosophy is simple: stay true to himself and have as much fun as possible. Akane admits she used to wish for death, but she has a hole in her memory. It scares her that she might have done something horrible to feel that way. Our boy gently puts his hand on hers, offering some silent support. Then she looks him right in the eye and asks another heavy question. "Have you ever killed someone?" He looks down, his face a total blank. Then he just flatly denies it, saying such a horrible thought never crossed his mind. Akane gets up with a tired smile, apologizing for the weird conversation. As she leaves, her face twists in pain. "I'll always be waiting," she whispers. She covers her face, tears streaming down as she begs for help. Our boy is just sitting there, completely clueless about the drama that just unfolded. Suddenly, someone runs up shouting for Akane, totally panicked. Two classmates burst in with terrible news. Lieutenant Sayima was found dead. They tell her the worst part. Some of the knights think she's the murderer. Akane's face is just pure horror as the accusation hangs in the air. Cut to an office where a blonde lady in a lab coat is briefing them. This is Yuka, and she says things are tricky since Captain Haitani is investigating. She shows them some crime scene photos, warning them that it's gonna be rough. The picture is insane, just Sayojima's dismembered body dumped behind the school. Yuka explains the time of death was right after the beast attack. She asks Akane for an alibi, but she doesn't have one since she was just talking to our boy. Worse, witnesses saw them arguing, and someone saw her near the crime scene. The final nail in the coffin, his body was cut up by a blade. Total frame job. Akane jumps up, desperately yelling that she didn't do it. Then our boy finally speaks up, playing the calm detective. This all looks too sloppy. He points out the cuts were made with brute force, not with Akane's clean technique. Akane thanks him, begging them to believe her, and Yuka quickly reassures her. But the reassurance doesn't work. Akane completely shatters, descending into a full-blown panic attack. Yuka grabs her in a hug to calm her down. "I know you didn't." While holding her, she sneakily shoves something small into Akane's mouth. Bam! Instant sedative. Akane just goes limp, and Yuka tells her to rest. Sid asks what that was, and she explains it was just a calming medicine. Apparently, Akane has some serious trauma that gets triggered by stuff like this. Yuka says Akane has been getting better, but her mind is still super fragile. She's determined to prove Akane's innocence to the captain. She thinks the killer is an assassin or that new Black Knight from last night. Sid then puts on his best good guy act, asking if he can help investigate. Yuka agrees, but warns him not to get into any danger with the stampede coming. He gives this huge, excited grin, but his internal thought is, "Hell yeah, just sweet-talked me a free pass to wander around the base." Later, in a big, empty common room with a view of the ruined city, our boy is eating a pastry, thinking this murder mystery quest is going to be fun. He's already planning his epic detective one-liners when he notices some dude on a laptop. He glances over and recognizes a familiar background character type. He sneaks up and asks if the laptop has internet, scaring the crap out of the guy. The nerd boasts about the base's Wi-Fi before telling him to get lost, but Sid just tosses his pastry at him and takes over the computer. Savage. He's looking at an image board, and the top thread is all about why Akane killed Seijima. The anonymous posts are a mix of blaming Akane and hyping up the Black Knight. Sid is unimpressed with the hype about himself and keeps scrolling for intel. Then he sees a post from a user with a truly legendary cringe name. XXX Silver-Haired Elf QT 3.14. Ew. He figures it can't be Beta, since she wouldn't have such a lame name. He decides he has to step in and teach this person how a real cool name is done. So he posts a reply under his own, equally ridiculous username. Of course, the thread immediately calls him cringe, and the elf user fires back. Our boy gets super defensive, typing out this whole edgy backstory for his new persona. The replies just mock him even harder, while the elf user keeps simping for the Black Knight. The thread completely devolves into trolling, and Sid realizes he's in a den of idiots. Then the elf user goes completely nuclear, threatening to find and kill everyone who talks crap about the Black Knight. What a psycho! And just like that, the entire thread disappears. Our boy looks out the window, realizing Silver-Haired Elf got banned. The next day, Sid recaps what he learned online. He's in a lounge explaining his findings to a teddy bear he named Watson. Totally normal. He snuck into the morgue and found the real cause of death: bullet wounds. That means someone shot Seijima and then cut up the body to frame the knights. He tells Watson this means the killer was probably someone Seijima knew and trusted. There's just a long, awkward silence as he stares at the bear. He gets bored of playing detective by himself and decides he's done for the night. He figures he'll just tell Dr. Yuka about the bullet wounds tomorrow. As he stands by the window, he sees a glint of light from the trees. His expression immediately gets serious as he zeroes in on the source. Boom! The window shatters as gunfire erupts, catching him in the blast. For a split second, he looks shocked. Gunshots? You gotta be kidding me! Then his shock turns into a massive, sparkling grin of pure joy. He dramatically spreads his arms. This is his chance to pull off his ultimate move. He focuses, memorizing the trajectory of every single bullet about to hit him. He strikes a dynamic X pose to present a larger target, which is apparently ideal. He starts leaning backward, aiming for a perfect 120-degree angle like in the movies. Then, at the last second, he tears open hidden blood bags right where the bullets hit. With his eyes closed in serene focus, he thinks, "Behold, this is how a true mob dies." He unleashes his ultimate technique. Mob Fu ultimate art, bloody marionette, mob a la Swiss cheese. Blood bags explode all over him as he gets thrown back in a beautiful, artistic death scene. And for the grand finale, he clutches his chest. And don't forget the coup de grace. He lets out one last scream as a massive fountain of blood erupts from his torso. Lying in a massive pool of fake blood, our boy thinks, perfection. Two armed goons climb through the broken window, looking down at his corpse. One of them scoffs. "Sorry, kid, this is what happens when you know too much." They decide to cut him up to finish the job, and the guy grabs his collar. Wait, what? Suddenly, Sid just sits up, completely fine. The goons are freaking out. "What are you on about? Look at all this blood!" one yells, but his partner points out there's not even a hole in his clothes. Before they can process it, Sid's hands snap up and grab the dude's collar. He leans in with a crazed grin, one eye glowing. "You wasted my beautiful performance." The guy panics, screaming, "How are you still alive?" He shoves his gun against Sid's head and pulls the trigger at point-blank range. The gun fires, but the guy just trembles, staring in disbelief. Sid turns his head, completely unscathed, not a single scratch. The assassin is losing his mind. He realizes this is no normal kid and tells his partner to run and report back. His partner gasps, realizing he might be the legendary Black. Nope. Sid moves in a blur and snags the dude by the throat. Now he's holding both of them, one in each hand, demanding to know who the mastermind is. He gives them a choice: a quick death if they talk, or an agonizing one if they don't. They're crying, begging for their lives, swearing they don't know anything. Just then, alarms start blaring outside. "The stampede has begun!" Sid's attention is immediately piqued. Ooh, now that sounds a lot more interesting. He looks back at the two goons, their faces turning blue as he tightens his grip. He calmly quotes the assassin's earlier words back at him before finishing the job. This is what happens when you know too much. Cold as ice. The stampede is on. A massive horde of monsters is swarming the base, and the captain is rallying the troops. A giant tiger thing lunges, and the pavement cracks under its power. Some dude in a suit steps up and just effortlessly slices the beast in half. Clean cut, zero effort, total flex. But then an even bigger monster looms over the captain, who is completely shook. Suddenly, a vortex of dark energy just blasts through the battlefield, which is pretty nuts. Up on a rooftop, the suit guy is shouting orders, while another dude with a rifle complains about the monster stats being buffed. Before he can even finish whining, a scaly goon just takes him out mid-sentence. The captain sees his man go down and is absolutely pissed. On another roof, some side characters are panicking because Akane hasn't shown up yet. One of them realizes that even she wouldn't be enough to stop this insane raid. They're facing a whole new set of mobs they've literally never seen before. The captain makes a tough call, telling his crew there's no other choice but to open the emergency underpass. He orders everyone to split up and get the civilians out of there immediately. What we fight to protect is not the building, he says, his katana glowing, but the lives inside of it. What a Chad. He and another knight charge in, telling them to buy as much time as possible. The captain is just tearing through the horde, but he knows they can't hold out forever. Suddenly, he freezes, sensing something way, way worse is coming. The whole battlefield starts to shake, and everyone is freaking out about the tremors. Then, an unseen attack just impales a huge monster from above, which is just wild. The captain looks up, his face pure horror. "It's here too?" And yup, a colossal armored dragon just spawned. The raid boss has officially arrived, boys. Cut to a control room where alarms are blaring. Some nerd named Akira Nishino is having a meltdown. He's stumping down a hallway, fuming that some other faction kidnapped Akane. This guy is a total villain. He walks into a dark room and finds a blonde girl just sitting up in bed, totally awake. He's confused why the sedative didn't work, but decides it doesn't even matter. Then this absolute psycho pulls a severed monster head out of a briefcase. Totally normal behavior. He tells the girl, who has elf ears, that he's going to fuse the head with her. Apparently, eating the head will let her evolve into a higher life form. This dude is bonkers. He grabs her arm, ready to inject her with some weird crap to create the perfect knight. Bam! Suddenly, he gets stabbed right through the chest, blood going everywhere. He chokes, completely shocked at what just happened. He collapses onto the bed as the blonde girl, Beta, just watches, unfazed. A rifle appears, pointed right at her head. "Did you think we would let you do as you please?" A shot rings out, and she gets domed right in the forehead, blood splattering everywhere. Akira cries over her body, whining about his precious experimental subject. Get over it, dude. A shadowy figure tells him to die slowly, while they take the head and syringes. As the figure leaves, Akira reaches out, desperately trying to stop them. He crawls across the floor for his laptop, still complaining about his perfect night plan. With his last ounce of strength, he reaches for the laptop on the table. Just as he's about to touch it, he looks up, his eyes widening in total disbelief. Plot twist! The blonde girl is standing right there, holding his laptop. He's like, "But you were shot in the head." He makes a desperate grab for it, but she just casually pulls it away. She holds up a little memory card, saying it's her important camera. Then she grabs his hair, forcing his head back for a little chat. She asks him what he knows about the fallen angel of rebellion. He stammers that he doesn't know anything, shocked that she can even talk. She says he's useless then. Black energy swirls around her as her clothes start to transform. "We are the Shadow Garden," she says coolly. She's now in a slick black bodysuit, looking like a total badass. To hunt the shadows, we hide in the darkness. Her face gets serious as she says that the fallen angel is someone she must erase. She leaps out the window, vowing to kill him 100 times over for calling her username cringe. As Akira dies, he realizes a secret organization has been running things this whole time. Back at the battle, the defenders are getting wrecked by the dragon. They're trying to protect the barrier. The commander leaps onto the boss's back, trying to draw its aggro and find a weak point. He swings his katana, but the blade just scrapes off its armor without a single scratch. His face is pure disbelief. He literally did 0 damage. This boss has insane defense stats. The dragon looms over the barrier, ready to one-shot the entire defense line. The commander screams for it to stop, knowing the civilians won't be able to escape. A red-haired girl just screams in total despair, bracing for the wipe. Some other defenders just look on from behind cover, completely shocked by what's happening. Then their shock turns to awe as they see something else in the sky. Even the dragon pauses its attack, its glowing eye looking up at the sky. One of the knights is totally confused, wondering what's going on now. He and another defender just stare as the colossal beast just stops mid-attack. The commander sees the dragon's head start glowing and yells for everyone to get away from it. And then, against the full moon, the dragon is just cleaved in two. As the two halves fall, a girl lets out a scream, getting covered in monster guts. Another knight, also splattered, can't believe it. Who could have defeated the brutal in just a single slash? On top of a ruined building, it's him. The Black Knight has appeared, and the crowd goes wild. The survivors are split. Some think he's here to help, but others are wary of his insane power level. But defeating the raid boss doesn't matter when the rest of the stampede is still there. The commander just raises a hand, telling everyone to be quiet and watch. Our boy strikes a pose, his sword glowing with immense energy. He's charging up his ultimate. He swings his blade in a massive arc, ready to unleash hell. This lone warrior stands before the entire monster horde, totally unfazed by the insane numbers. A close-up shows his eyes gleaming over his glowing katana, his focus absolute. "I am!" he booms from high above the city, as a massive sphere of energy erupts. "Atomic sword!" The shockwave just obliterates everything, and 2 massive skyscrapers start to shake. The buildings just can't take the pressure and begin to crumble under the immense force. They collapse into a massive cloud of dust, adding to the absolute destruction on the ground. The shockwave tosses the survivors around like rag dolls, and a red-haired girl screams as she's thrown. The captain struggles to his feet, completely mind-blown by the level of power he just witnessed. Someone in the crowd declares that it's as if he was sent by the gods to save them. A close-up shows our boy Shadow, his face hidden by his hood, looking cool as hell. He starts walking toward the survivors, and one of them freaks out, yelling, "He's coming this way!" The captain calmly tells his men to open the gate, but his subordinate thinks he's gone mad. The commander admits no one can stop him, but says he's betting everything on this dude who just soloed a stampede. The gate opens, and Shadow walks through as the crowd parts in fear and awe. The commander approaches him, asking the big question. "Just who are you?" Shadow places a hand on his sword, dark energy swirling around it. The time has come. He draws his blade slightly, his eyes gleaming. The gate of darkness has opened, for me to lead this world to a new horizon. He makes his grand declaration in front of everyone. I am Shadow. I lurk in the darkness to hunt down shadows. The commander and his subordinate are just like, what does that even mean? Shadow ignores them, looking up at a figure on a nearby roof. Beta. It's the blonde elf girl, and she smiles down at him. Forgive my tardiness, Lord Shadow. Shadow's cool demeanor instantly shatters. He's internally freaking out. Oh shit, I forgot to check up on Beta! He's relieved to hear her Japanese isn't perfect yet, so he might still be able to bluff. She joins him, reporting that the plan is in motion. He just nods along, pretending he knows everything. She says the gate will open soon, and that she's found the head key. He just repeats her words. Yes, please, come with me, she says, pointing. The head is right over there. And our boy just nods again, totally faking it. Okay, so some blonde lady is about to jab our girl Akane with a spooky-looking needle. She's going full villain monologue, screaming that her master plan is finally complete. She gets right up in Akane's face, ready to inject the weird juice. And then she yells that this is all Akane's fault. Classic villain logic. But just as she's about to do it, footsteps echo down the hall, making her pause. A massive flash of light erupts, and she spins around, totally blinded. When she can see again, her face is pure shock. She knows this guy. And it's our boy, Minoru. He's just standing there, looking chill as ever. He's like, you want to know how I'm alive, right? I can see it on your face. Our guy casually explains he figured out the only person talking about the murder must be the killer. Seems like I got it right, didn't I, Yuka-sensei? Dude is an absolute legend. He then drops the final accusation. She's the one who killed the gorilla dude. So naturally, she pulls a handgun out of her coat. Totally normal teacher stuff. A shot rings out, but our boy doesn't even flinch as it smacks the wall next to him. He just gets a tiny scratch on his cheek, no big deal. Tanked it. She points the gun right at him, trying to look intimidating. She even has the nerve to ask if he's too scared to move. Yeah, right. Then she admits everything, saying it was easy to kill her partner. She reveals they were both spies from a rival org trying to steal data here. Plot twist. He asks why she'd kill her own teammate, and she's like, because he's served his purpose. She says her real target is Akane, who apparently has a dark side. This girl, she's killed so many people, she says, which is a huge lore drop. It turns out this entire thing is a personal revenge quest against Akane. Flashback sequence initiated. Yuka explains she used to live at a big research site called Arcadia. Life was good there with her husband, living in a fancy modern facility. One day, her husband runs in, super hyped about their research finally paying off. He wanted her to be the first to know they successfully created an awakened being. He tells her to look because she's the first knight in Japan. He then rolls in a girl in a wheelchair, announcing her as the Genesis Knight. And yup, you guessed it, it's a younger, black-haired Akane. At first, things were great, and her powers brought peace to the facility. But then some other researcher, Akira, got greedy and wanted to buff Akane even more. Her husband argued it was too dangerous, that nobody could stop her if she lost control. Akira just smirked and said Akane consented, so they had to respect her wishes. What a snake. By this point, Akane's hair had turned golden from all the magic power. Super Saiyan vibes. And then, as you'd expect, the whole place goes boom. The facility is destroyed, and her husband dies in her arms. He was right all along, and now he's gone. This is her villain origin story. She completely loses it, screaming that she'll never forgive them and will hunt them down. Back in the present, Yuka says she finally found them after years of searching. And get this, that dude Akira is just continuing his research like nothing happened. Our boy is just listening, thinking, so Akane was the Genesis Knight? Quest log updated. Yuka explains Akira created Akane by injecting her with demon beast blood. Yikes! Aren't you curious what will happen if we inject even more of them into her? She goes full psycho mode, screaming that she'll make Akane remember being a monster. Akane starts to wince as the memories are forced back on her. And then, bam! Akane suddenly lunges forward and just bites Yuka's neck. Yuka dies with a creepy smile on her face, like this was her plan all along. This is my revenge, she whispers as she dies, which is wild. Akane looks down at her hands, which are now bloody claws, and starts freaking out. Our boy shouts her name, trying to help, but she screams back, "Stay away, Minoru-kun!" A massive wave of energy just erupts from her, sending our boy flying. The blast is so huge, it literally blows the roof off the building. Talk about an AO tack. Inside her mind, she's getting a massive memory dump of her rampage. She remembers people screaming and begging for their lives as she went berserk. The disaster wasn't caused by a monster, it was her. The memory shows her past self crying over her own bloody hands. She thinks about how she just wanted to be a hero like the guy who saved her. But now she realizes that was just her being arrogant. Angst levels are critical. Cut to a ruined cityscape, where the now blonde-haired Akane is standing alone. She hears a noise and whips her head around, totally on guard. And there he is, a hooded figure sitting on some rubble like an absolute Chad. "What a fine night," he says, "perfect for severing one's past." His eye glows as he grips his sword. It's go time. Akane warns him to stay away, her expression completely broken. She yells that no one can stop her now as she unleashes a massive burst of power. Then she lets out a furious scream and lunges right at him. Boss fight initiated. Our boy, now in full shadow mode, moves to meet her charge. For a second, it looks like she slices right through him, blood everywhere. Akane starts to panic, thinking she's killed someone else again. That was my after image. LOL, get wrecked. He holds up his torn cloak, showing she hit nothing. Before she can even process that flex, he summons black chains that wrap her up tight. She struggles like crazy, but the chains don't even budge. She just screams in total frustration, completely pinned. "It's no use," he says calmly. "No one can escape the restraints of the black shackles." As she's screaming, he raises his glowing sword, looking epic. He then just sheaths his blade, and all the crazy energy around her vanishes. Akane just looks up, a single tear rolling down her cheek as the battle ends. We pull back to see the destroyed skyscraper, a silent monument to the absolute beatdown. Meanwhile, Beta shows up with a digital camera, snapping photos like a total fangirl. She immediately pops up next to Shadow to give her report. She says she's analyzed the Black Rose and can open a gate with the monster's head. Then she just winds up and prepares to yeet the head at a wall. It goes splat against the concrete, which is just hilarious. And it actually works. A black portal swirls open, and Shadow is legit impressed. Beta is blushing like crazy as our boy praises her and walks toward the portal. He heads in, but Beta suddenly remembers she brought a massive sack of loot. She runs to the portal and tries to shove the whole bag through, but it doesn't fit. The hitbox is too big. She's devastated about her stolen goods. Defeated, she sits down to pick just one item to take when she spots something. It's the original black-haired Akane lying unconscious in the rubble. A clever, evil little smile spreads across Beta's face. She decides that instead of loot, she'll just bring back a local specimen. LMAO.